Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light. You are beautiful, just the way you are. Step into the love. You're illuminated by the glory of God's love. Step into the truth. From within your abundance overflows. How love can change one life. One life can change the world. Step into the light. Step into the love. Step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light. Step into the love. Step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. I am the light of the world. You are the light of the world. We are the light of the world. So move with me, step with me, step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. I am the light of the world. You are the light of the world. We are the light of the world. So move with me, step with me, step into the light.
Welcome to Vida Spiritual Learning Center, where we meet you right where you are, mind to mind, heart to heart, soul to soul. At Vida, we celebrate diversity inclusiveness, for it enriches our community beyond measure. Welcome, one and all, to Vida Spiritual Learning Center. And for our beloved Jewish family and friends, Rosh Hashanah, Happy New Year, knowing and trusting 5783 is a happy, healthy, and prosperous new year. We like to remind ourselves of our vision and mission here at Vida Spiritual Learning Center. And I'm just going to take a moment to read this out loud to you and just allow these words to wash over you. By valuing and empowering all, we inspire a fulfilling and joyous life. Al valorar y potenciar todo, inspiramos una vida plena y alegre. And I now want to introduce our practitioner of the day, Gary Takasian. We are blessed to have Gary with us today. He is going to lead us in a meditation and an invocation. So please welcome Gary Takasian.
Thank you, Reverend Kevin. And so I'm just going to invite all of us to just simply allow ourselves to be in that space, in that quiet place that we know as the divine. Allowing ourselves to just breathe in that spirit that surrounds, that spirit that brings life to all things, that spirit that allows the fullness of the universe to come forth. And let's just take a nice deep breath together, breathing in fully and completely, and hold it for just a moment. And then release. And let's do that once again. Breathe deeply, filling completely. And hold for just a second. And release. And just settle in to the peace of this time. Allowing any tensions, any concerns to just simply melt away for this time together. Finding ourselves in that presence of the divine. And this month, we have been talking about various aspects of work. And in doing so, regardless of what that work is, there are times where, in spite of our best efforts, things don't work out as well as we may have expected. In those times, we can even begin to doubt our own effectiveness based on past successes. And so I think Ernest Holmes has some words of wisdom for us this morning. Writing in the Science of Mind text, he says, "Never limit your view of life by any past experience. The possibility of life is inherent within the capacity to imagine what life is, backed by the power to produce this imagery or divine imagination. It is not a question of failing or succeeding. It is simply a question of sticking to an idea until it becomes a tangible reality. The illusion is in the way we look at things." And so for the next few minutes, let us just look at those times where maybe things didn't work out as we wanted. And armed with our Science of Mind teaching, we know that it is how we look at it. As Ernest said, any illusion in our being together with ourselves, being caught up in any doubt, that is the illusion. The illusion is in the way we look at things. So let us be in that space for the next few minutes and rejoice in knowing that that is our choice, to look at it as an illusion, and that the truth is the divine inspiration.
something. Is this the beginning or something?
It is good to sit in the divine presence. And I really liked the words that Ernest had for us this morning, just the last part. Just remember that no matter what life brings, it is not a question of failing or succeeding. It is simply a question of sticking to an idea until it becomes a tangible reality. The illusion is in the way we look at things. And now the invitation is to bring your awareness back into this space, back into this place where we can be in that presence of the divine. And now I invite you to join me in our invocation. And what I am knowing right now, in this time and in this place, is that we are indeed surrounded by this incredible power and presence, this one mind, this great spirit that has brought life to all things. And by all things, that includes each and every one of us as well. For we are one with that divine presence, inheriting all the creativity and wonder that is ascribed to God. That is our birthright. And as we embrace that birthright, we know that we walk with the divine. No matter what happens in life, no matter what situations we find ourselves, it is that divine presence that walks right along with us, because it is that divine presence that expresses itself through and as each and every one of us. Every talent, every ability that is unique to us as individuals is brought forth by that divine presence. It lives itself through us. And it is in that way that we can truly know that no matter what happens, it is always in the way we look at things. And it is our ability to look and to see anew with that divine presence that brings us joy in life. And so for this and for so much more, I give thanks, knowing that it is the truth of who we are. And so I'm going to now allow these words, this prayer, the messages of this day to be given forth into the creative action of the law, knowing that it takes that which we have spoken into it and brings it into manifestation. And so it is, and now it is. Amen. All right, well, let's bring our attention back into this space completely because we have some announcements this morning. And the first one is a reminder to join Reverend Sunshine for a spiritual remedy, which is Mondays at 9 a.m. on our Vida SLC Facebook Live, every Monday at 9 a.m. And also, along with Reverend Sunshine's message of love today, we have the Living Serenity Prayer that she is going to be doing. And this is going to be on October 6th, October 13th, the 20th, and the 27th from 6:30 to 8 p.m. And the investment for this is $100, and you can register at vidaslc.org. And also, if you have a 5-person group, the discount is only $400, and that means it's only $80 per person. So if you bring that 5-person group together, you get a bit of a discount. And we always give thanks to everyone, and it's kind of awkward, but I am honored to have brought you the practitioner meditation and invocation this morning. And we are about to hear from Reverend Kevin bringing us the message for the day. And as he always has inspiring words for us, we will thank him in advance for that. We also like to recognize our live stream moderators, the ones who keep track of the folks on YouTube and all the other live streams that are going on. And we wouldn't be able to do the things that we do here at Vida without our leadership council. They're the ones who are kind of the rudder on the boat. They steer us in the directions and keep us moving well along the path. And we also have our technical team, and that's Barry, and that's also Rev Kev and me. I also participate in that. And also, we want to thank all of you for joining us, because we are here to be of service. And we would also like to ask you to consider supporting our spiritual teachings. And you can do that by sending a donation via mail to Vida SLC, and that's at 1524 East Hellman Street in Long Beach, California, 90813. And if you have Zelle, you can Zelle to our address, which is vida at vidaslc.org. You can also visit our website at www.vidaslc.org. And you can use the donate button, which we will put into the chat. All right, and now let us welcome Reverend Kevin for this morning's message.
Hello, and welcome to our weekly message from Vida Spiritual Learning Center. I'm happy to be here with you today. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about failing forward. And failing forward just means you gain the most from what you perceive to be failure. Now, I had a very liberating epiphany, so to speak, many years ago about failure. You know, there's a maxim in A Course in Miracles that goes something like, you become what you defend against. You become what you defend against. And for me, it's kind of a side effect of a pernicious perfectionism. I defended against failure. I couldn't ever fail. Everything I did must be a success. Now, I had not only denied and suppressed any failures in my life, but like all the quick fix self-help books advise, I immediately, twisted what wasn't quite working right into a success. Now, the net effect is I got good at misreading failure as success, and you might expect that led to more failure. Now, once I took an honest inventory, I awakened to this truer, albeit painful reality. I accepted that I fail sometimes. And I noticed that I'm not alone, that I'm like most folks who fail sometimes. And my well-developed defense against failure began to finally dissolve. It was an enormous weight lifted from my consciousness. And it also meant that I could take even more responsibility for my choices and my life. And with good reason. Ernest Holmes says, you have within you a power that is greater than anything you shall ever contact in the outer, a power that can overcome every obstacle in your life. That means I can overcome failure, same as you. Now, failure and success are different from accomplishment or achievement. Failure or success is a mentality, it's a mindset. It's a feeling you choose to ascribe to an accomplishment or an achievement. I've accomplished much in my life, and those accomplishments don't feel like success because they did not fulfill or even correspond to a greater dimension in consciousness. They didn't feel necessarily important to me, or they did not feel maybe like a step forward. And conversely, just because those accomplishments did not feel like success, it does not necessarily make those accomplishments failures either. Ernest Holmes says failure is not to be thought of as something outside yourself. A sense of failure is only the psychological and emotional reaction you have to experiences which are negative. So driving down the road of this human phase of your soul's journey, in hindsight, in the rearview mirror, failure and success are how you assess or discern, or dare I say judge, an accomplishment or an achievement in your life. And looking through the windshield, looking in foresight, failure and success are the feeling that you expect or that you attach to an activity of your life. It's a feeling that you expect from a goal you achieve, or a task, or maybe even from an intention you set. You might think, well, if it comes out this way, I succeed. If it comes out that way, I failed. Now, metaphysically framing feelings you expect to have based on how you evaluate an accomplishment, it puts the effect before the cause. It puts the cart before the horse. And if nothing else, it limits the possibilities for something better, for something greater. Now, failure and success are not really feelings in and of themselves, but they bring up all different kinds of feeling. So if you're going to declare something a success, you might want to be more specific about the feelings, the God qualities that success amplifies. You might say, in success, I have the positive inward sensations of prosperity or fulfillment or contentment or completeness or order. And failure and success are quite different from succeeding or failing, right? Succeeding and failing are how you feel in the present, how you feel while you are doing something. And you have this fantastic faculty to assess what you are doing while you are doing it. So as you reflect on what you're doing and assess what you're doing, you're kind of being pushed away from what feels bad, and you're being pulled towards what feels good. And as you respond to your feelings in the moment, you might choose to pause. You might choose to make an adjustment or correct course or take a step back. Or you might feel like continuing doing what you're doing is the best way to go. So in any moment, you can make this kind of binary assessment. It's real simple. Is what I'm doing failing, or is what I'm doing succeeding? Is what I'm doing feeling bad? Is what I'm doing feeling good? Is what I'm doing moving away from my vision? Is what I'm doing moving toward my vision? You know, Albert Einstein said, failure is a success in progress. So the rear view and the forward view of failure and success have kind of a limited metaphysical value, as I've already mentioned. But a present moment awareness of failing and succeeding are truly powerful, because as you do something, you have an opportunity to grow your consciousness. Well, that arises out of your spiritual practices. So as you're being attuned to really focused on what you're doing, that can be an extension, a form of meditation. Being open to the feeling, the good that can possibly come from what it is you're doing, that's a form of affirming or treating or praying. If you're keeping the idea, the high idea, the divine high idea present in your mind as you go about, as you do what you do, and open to the feelings, the qualities that vision brings forth, you're again integrating that visioning practice into what you do. What you do, you might be of service to someone or something. So that might be a successful feeling, a feeling of succeeding as you're doing what you're doing. And you might seek the assistance of your spiritual counselor or your practitioner. And that practitioner is going to help you look at that inner inventory. And that practitioner is also going to be a compassionate presence in your life. And finally, joining together as we are weekly and often at Vida Spiritual Learning Center, being in beloved community. It is a safe and supportive community in which your failure and your success are all accepted as just part of the growing and emerging consciousness, the love and light that you already are at your essence. And all of your spiritual practices take on a bigger dimension when you apply them, when you integrate them into anything you do. And the easy first step is just to be mindful and present with your feelings. It means being guided by your vision. It means that you are living spirit, and living spirit is living you. Now for me, setting and achieving goals is a kind of an empty experience. For some people, it's just the opposite. It's a really rich and rewarding experience. But, you know, even when I rephrase doing the dishes to I get to wash the dishes, I'm not honestly really spiritually invested in washing the dishes. Now, once you set a goal, take a moment to imagine what good you feel as you accomplish that goal. Take a moment to notice what good you feel as the goal is achieved. And in so doing, it elevates that goal from the ordinary to the extraordinary. There's more to it than just accomplishing that goal. And as you create this spiritual context, anything you do is more rewarding and fulfilling. When you take the moment to discover the feeling, the God qualities that are already within you and already surround you, you in that moment are consciously co-creating with a universal force for good. And the universal force for good responds. It is always conspiring and converging for your highest good. Now, an important lesson I have learned in my experience, failure is kind of exhausting and depleting. You know, I put in all the time and effort and energy that ought to have been for a success, and it wasn't. It didn't measure up. It failed. And, you know, I hear all the aphorisms and exhortations about you got to bounce back. You learn the lesson, you change course, you move on, you work through the adversity, it grows your character, it builds your resolve. And in time, these are all true. But if I am truly to glean all I can from what feels like failure, there is a wound I must heal. I must first do the work in consciousness. And as one heals anything, especially healing what one perceives as failure, compassion for oneself is primary. That's got to be the top of the heap. So as you notice failure, be especially kind and caring for yourself. At the same time, be open to receiving compassion and caring from others. You know, I have memories from childhood of my parents being so compassionate with me as I stumbled and fell, as I failed. Be at least this compassionate with yourself. Be as compassionate as my parents were for me. And know that as you extend this compassion for yourself, you can be that compassionate presence for others. You know, Maya Angelou said, if I'd have known better, I'd have done better. If you so choose, failing and succeeding both teach you better. And for me, even if I now know better, I must heal and rejuvenate. Otherwise, I can tell you from experience, if I don't take that time to heal and rejuvenate, I lack the energy, I lack the resources, I lack the resolve, and I certainly lack that presence that is needed moment to moment to succeed, to feel successful. And without that process, without rejuvenation, without healing, even if there are successes along the way, they're often not enough to overcome the inertia, the weight of those unhealed and unresolved failures. So you have to take time to grieve the loss of failure. Failure to me is certainly a kind of loss. Even if it's just a loss of time and effort, but failure is often more complex, goes a little deeper. And at the same time, you must give equal time to appreciate and celebrate your success. So before you launch into your next endeavor, take time to rejuvenate and recharge. Take time to glean all you can in heart and mind. And that means you regroup after any accomplishment, failure or success. That means you shed any of those psychic burdens. That means you heal some stinking thinking. That means you proceed with as much of your whole being as you can. So succeed consistently. Be less concerned with the bigger earth plane successes, the house, the job, the relationship. They are an effect, which means they are relative, they are fleeting, they are changeable and changing. But be more about and cognizant of the absolute, the success in and of each moment. Be open to the possibility of feeling good about what you do as you are doing it. And these moment-to-moment successes, they grow, they aggregate, they accumulate, they appreciate, they build their own momentum. They move you out of an ordinariness into a timelessness and a blissfulness. They truly make you come alive. So Thurman said, ask yourself, what makes you come alive? And go do that, because what the world needs is people who have come alive. So let's turn our attention inward. So it is with deep gratitude that I recognize the power and presence of living spirit. I call to heart and mind that compassion that exceeds all understanding, that intelligence, that creativity, that dynamic circulation of a love, a peace, a joy that is God, that is living spirit. And knowing God to be everywhere and within, I know that I am one with and one of God. And what is true for me is true for all beings everywhere. That you and I are an extension, an emanation, an offspring of the Most High God. We are that meditation in the mind of God. So I speak my word that our lives are fully lived in this moment and in the next. I know as we make plans and set goals and do the work of this earthly life, we infuse it with the power and presence of living spirit. We intend every moment to be clear in mind and rich in feeling. We bless and release that which has taught us much and no longer serves. We embrace renewal and rejuvenation, ready, willing, and able to feel better and live our best lives. So blessing the world as I am blessed, I give thanks for this answered prayer. I give thanks for this communion in spirit. And I lovingly release my word into the law of mind and action, knowing as it is spoken, it is so. That God says yes to more love, to more light, to more joy, to more peace, to more compassion. That love, peace, joy, and compassion, that is yours right now. It's happening for you, for me, right here and right now. And now it is, and so it is. Amen. Thank you very much for joining me this week. If any of this resonates with you and you feel called to donate, here are the ways in which you can donate to Vida Spiritual Learning Center. And know that you are contributing to something that feeds you spiritually and keeps this center and our teachings alive. So have a wonderful week. We'll see you here next time.
And let us finish by our closing prayer, which is a song, and that is a prayer prayed twice.